Your sensors are correct. Do not adjust your heading. You've discovered the Omega Particle, streaming to the Alpha Quadrant and beyond. Here's your host, the anchorman of the Federation, the doctor of dilithium. This is Jonathan Wiegand.
Welcome to the Omega Particle Podcast. Back from sabbatical, back from, I guess, a break. It is, like the man said, OPP, your host, Jonathan Wiegand here, the guiding beacon of light in these troubled times. And boy, I feel like the world exploded since January. I think that our last episode was like January 1st, January 2nd. And boy, it just really went wild there, didn't it? And it was funny because we have this World War III episode that I have planned, that I have recorded, that I have edited, and I listened to it last week in like a post-production, and I was like, I can't release this. The problem with World War III in Star Trek is that it's very loose. It's very loosey-goosey, not a lot of hard facts. I think the only hard fact I was able to find was that there was a war and it killed about 600 million people, and eventually the governments broke down, and then everybody became Wild West, and it was Zephram Cochrane in Montana just doing what they want to do, and everyone's like the video game Fallout. Everyone's just doing whatever the heck they want to do. There really is no rhyme or reason. There's no governments. It's just kind of there until the Vulcans show up, and then First Contact, and everybody's like, hey, we're humanity, let's get back together. But there really is no like more than that. And so this episode was about like 30, 40 minutes, and it wasn't very good. So I'm just going to pass on it because I had some exciting stuff this past week, especially the weekend. It's been a lot of fun this past couple of months with work, and we did a little bit of light traveling. We're going to Japan in a few months, so I'm looking forward to that. But it's just been really just kind of hectic, and I'm glad we're kind of getting out of that. And sometimes I love it when you work hard and you got to push through and you see the light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm glad that's happening. So that means I can devote more time to my hobbies and my loves, which is you, the Omega Particle Podcast. So I'm happy to be back. And I have to say, I had a magical weekend. No better word for it. It's magical. I was transported to the foreign land of Chattanooga, which is an Indian word for poor white people. Just kidding. Jason's like shaking his fist. Damn you. Just kidding. I love Chattanooga. It's very great. They have a lot of artisanal shops and fairs, and it's a beautiful city. I went to school right above it, and we saw William Shatner at an evening with William Shatner, and we watched Star Trek II Wrath of Khan, and we were slyly talked into getting a picture with him, being another really good buddy. We'll review that. We'll talk about that. All I have to say, if I was 95 and able to talk like that man does and able to carry himself, I would take that any day of the week. If somebody came to me right now and was like, look, when you're 95, you'll be able to talk for an hour and a half, hour 45, and be able to like carry himself and do all this kind of stuff and travel, I would take that deal 9 out of 10 times. But anyway, we'll get into that. We'll also get into some of Shatner's comments, too, that were a little controversial over the past couple of months and weeks, especially about Starfleet Academy. I want to talk about that. It's relevant and it's kind of fun, but also we had some breaking news with the movie. Finally, with the Star Trek movies coming out and the potential new movies. And, I mean, it's the 60th anniversary of Star Trek this year. And, yeah, that's about it. I mean, we don't have a lot going on for the 60th anniversary, but we'll touch on that lightly, too. Again, I just want to say thank you all so much for your continued support and kind of this sabbatical for me. And I work in finance and accounting, so the first quarter is usually just a blur. So thank you all so much for understanding. Maybe next year we'll kind of prep and be like, hey, like we're going to take some time off, etc. It's good to be back, and just thank you again for your support. And without further ado, Luna, let's roll that beautiful bean footage. like I said in the beginning, I'm going to talk about an evening with William Shatner, which makes it sound like, I don't know, like you had like a rendezvous with William Shatner, or cocktails with William Shatner, which wasn't the case. And that's actually how we came about it, is that my good friend of jasontalksmovies.wordpress.com, yes, the very same, said, hey, good chums, good fellow gentlemen, I see that Sir William Shatner is coming. Is he British? Nobody knows. Luna, we checked that out. Luna, the intern. He is coming to the great land of Chattanooga. And would you want to go? And we were like, yes, we will partake, and we will Venmo for the tickets. And it was great. I was very impressed with it. And so I've never done anything like this. I've never been to a Comic-Con. I've never met a celebrity. I mean, I've met celebrities before, but it's always been like in the wild, as they say, never like in this thing where I'm like, I'm going to go see a celebrity for this purpose. And it was really cool. So we go, and the place was packed, absolutely packed. And I was kind of surprised because I didn't know if it was going to be like me and like 30 dudes and one guy dressed up as a Klingon, or if it was going to be 120, 300 people. But it was probably a good like 500-600 people were there. Theater was massive, the Soldiers and Sailors Theater, I believe, in Chattanooga, and it was packed. I was really surprised because it was mainly the older generation was there. I'm in my mid to late 30s. It was mainly like maybe people in their 50s or 60s. But that makes sense. Like the original series came on, it's kind of right around that time, and people grew up with Kirk and the original series. But there was some young people. I saw a couple young kids, and I was like, oh, good, they're passing it down. And Star Trek is a tough thing to get children into. I've tried to show my son, he's only 5, and I've tried to show him some, but it's difficult. It is very difficult because it's just not like sexy and flashy and bing, bang, bang. Like some of the battle scenes I've shown him, for the most part, just, yeah, I mean, one day. I mean, I didn't start watching Star Trek until I was in college. Anytime's good, but whatever he's into, whatever, I'll support and watch, and whether it's Pokemon, monster trucks, whatever. So we go into this theater. It's absolutely packed, and you see like the 2 little chairs, kind of like these little, I don't know what you call them, not tuck chairs, but which some people don't know what that means, and if you don't, then don't Google it. So you see the little chairs on stage, it's kind of, it's the excitement there, like, oh yeah. And then I have to remember, we have to watch Wrath of Khan 2. So it was cool, and they had they brought down a little theater for it. And we watched Wrath of Khan 2, and it was great because like you could feel the excitement. I've never seen Wrath of Khan 2 in the theaters. I only watched it at home by myself. So to see it in a big theater like that, with everybody quoting the lines around you and people clapping when Khan comes on, and my buddy's like, isn't he the bad guy? Why are we clapping for the bad guy? I loved it. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it was no Avengers Endgame theater experience by any means, but it was really cool to just enjoy Trek with a big group of people watching a movie. So if you've never done that, I would highly recommend it just for that experience. That was really cool. But then the really neat part is you get to then stay in your seat, and then maybe like another 10-15 minutes go by for intermission, and you get to go, William Shatner will come out, and it was so cool. Like it was really crazy to be like, oh, I know that man. He's been on my TV. He's been on my tiny iPhone. But to see him in person was just like, kind of like seeing an old friend, if that makes any sense. Like you feel like you know the guy because you've watched hours and hours and hours of him. And I have to say, he was delightful. Like I was a little skeptical I've heard like some negative things about people, fan interactions and things like that. I was very, like, he just came off that Shatner swag, and he had a little smile here and there, and he just was great. He told a lot of great stories, some intense ass stories, like about Leonard Nimoy. They were talking like he was in a limo with Leonard Nimoy, and like everybody in the limo was like, oh, I'm going to give up smoking. Leonard Nimoy decides like, what the hell, and he's not going to, and then eventually, years later, Nimoy dies of influenza, and then Shatner gives a pretty intense view on that. Yeah, same thing with DeForest Kelley, hearing some great stories between the 3 of them, and again, I'm not going to recreate or tell stories again. It was just, I'm sure they're out there again, but I don't want to ruin it if you do go watch it, because I'm sure some of them are probably a little bit recycled. His schedule's crazy, so I'm sure they're not all original every single time, so I don't want to ruin it if you do go. Yeah, it was just very warm, it was funny. I mean, there was a couple like little jokes that they kind of like, they put in for comedic effect, like just to tee him up. As a boxer briefs, and he's like, I wear, it depends. Okay. So it's a little like tee up jokes like that, which is perfectly fine. Like, I get it. We got to have some wins with the audience, but it kind of reminded me, the whole experience, a lot of the talk, it reminded me of the new podcast with Jonathan Frakes and Brett Spiner. They're talking Hollywood, dropping names is the name of it. Thank you, Luna. Dropping names. And it kind of reminded me of that, because he's talking about, oh, well, this so-and-so person worked with the costumes, and this so-and-so person worked this and that. And he's like, dropping names. And I was like, oh, this is why they made that podcast. This is really good. So if you haven't listened to that, go check it out. It'll be a great lifelong memory. And then eventually, so we were kind of, let's go. We got our popcorn and I got a Diet Coke, and we're just like, okay, well, before the show started, and we're like, let's go check out the merch table. What merch does this guy have? And as we're in line just to go check it out, this lady behind us is like, and we see like photo with William Shatner, $120. And the lady behind us is like, that's a good price, man. And she goes into how like she's seen Alice Cooper and Ozzy Osbourne, that she's paid like $700 plus at some point to meet these people and get a photo with them. And I was like, dang, okay, well, maybe we should. And then it just, they got us. We even joked with, I think my buddy joked with her, like, hey, like, are you a plant or something? Because like it worked. Like, she sold us hook, line, and sinker, and we're like, we did, we're gonna do it. And I've never done anything like that, but it was a very cool experience. Again, not too many interactions. Like, we're just like, hey, Mr. Shatner. He's like, hey, guys. Like, it wasn't anything big. It's I love what the tour manager said. It's a photo with William Shatner. It's a cocktails. And I was just, it was very cool, lifelong memory. I'll put that photo in my office, on my bookshelves and stuff like that. But, sometimes there's there's photos that you're going to be like, they'll probably show this at my funeral. This one will probably be somewhere on my funeral to be like, oh, you met William Shatner. Oh, wow. Something like that, I imagine. But it was just a fantastic time with friends. We actually ended the night at Whataburger, which is the first time I've ever had Whataburger. And I would say Whataburger, not good. Not a fan. If you're from Texas, we know we have a lot. Maybe it was because it was 11:30 at night and the drink machine was broken, and they gave my friend a half-gallon, was it banana or vanilla? I don't know what it was, but it was like half-gallon thing of like milkshake. And he's like, what the heck? It was a perfect cap to an evening, and I would really recommend going. I would have gone by myself, like if I saw this. I mean, it was that enjoyable. Would I go again? If they have Search for Spock or something, I'd do that again. It would have been totally cool to see that again. But if you haven't gone, highly recommend it. Again, just for the effect of watching classic Trek films with a group full of Trekkies. And I actually wore my, we had a t-shirt exchange, I think probably like 18 months ago with a guy. We had a guy dad trip, and we exchanged t-shirts, and I had, my friend got me this. He thought it was a joke, like a Quark DS9 shirt. And he's like, look at his crazy costume. I'm like, no, that's a real costume Quark wears, and it says Ladies Maid on it. And I loved when we were in line waiting to see Shatner, I got probably 2 or 3 comments about it. It was fun enjoying even talking Trek with some of these older guys and girls, and it was a special Trek memory. And I need to do more of these. I got to do some CinemaCons. I just got to do more of this because it'll be a lot of fun. So if you haven't gone, please go. And again, I'm not getting paid or anything like that. So this is a pure like fan recommendation. And I think tickets were like $70, and we had pretty freaking good seats. Oh, one thing that reminds me. Thank you, Luna the intern. So when we saw the movie, we saw him talk. There was no giant screen with his face. Sometimes like at church and stuff, when the pastor talks, they'll have a screen just for his face. They didn't have that. So if you were like way in the back, you're just gonna see a little bitty outline of a man. We were pretty close, not super close, but close enough that we could like see that it was him. So I would highly recommend that. Get close, because you don't know what kind of amphitheater it is, what they're going to provide. So maybe, I'm sure some of these other bigger venues, they might have had that, but for this one we were at, did not. So just think about that if you're going to buy tickets. But enough rambling about the great Shat and Chatt, as we called it. I think we'll name the episode that. But I want to get into a little bit of the Shatner comments, because we were talking about that when we were waiting to see him, waiting for the movie to start. Apparently there were people online who believe that William Shatner had this like secret midnight meeting with the executives at Paramount. It almost reminds me like he walked into the boardroom wearing that old Kirk uniform, kicked open the door and went, "Computer, delete woke." And Shatner's like, "Guys, none of this happened. please get a life, the famous SNL sketch, because he is saying that none of this happened. The man is 95 years old, like I mentioned, and he's still clotheslining nerds from the top rope. Like, he's still not punching down. He's still punching. And I mean, I think he even said that in his rebuttal about it. He's like, I'll get a life. And because if you don't know, that's from a legendary SNL sketch where he's like at this Star Trek convention and they're like, no, Captain Kirk, on episode 14, when you said that the Romulans were in the neutral zone, don't you mean that the Treaty of Alvarado wasn't signed yet? And blah, blah, blah. And he's like, nerds, get a life. And so it's kind of always something he'll sometimes say, but it's just a kind of like attitude of, again, really, this kind of crap. And it kind of caught wildfire in the Trek universe as I kind of uncovered it. I mean, there was YouTube channels and videos and podcasts that were acting like they uncovered the Brooder film of Star Trek. They were like, this is it. Shatner was glaring at this actress from Starfleet Academy because he was upset with how the franchise was being run, and he hated the future of the franchise, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think that was the case at all. And we'll get to his comment, but like, I really think, he's 95. He's just putting on his glasses and probably wondering why his horse has a better agent than him. I mean, it's just a lot of these thumbnails, if you look through, he just looks angry. Now, granted, he does look angry. Like, when we bought tickets for the event, like, it says, like, an evening with William Shatner, and he's, like, looking angry. It's like, we were making jokes, like, he's mad that we bought tickets to this event. And so it's like, so people really took it off and ran with it. And really all those, and I watched a couple of the videos, all they were was just some guy from Ohio spouting off for about 30, 40 minutes talking about, like, look, I'm not saying that Shatner ran in and is controlling Star Trek, but if he was, this is what would happen. I'm like, that's not journalism. That's just, your cousin after 3 beers at Thanksgiving. It got so bad that Shatner actually had to go on Instagram and acted like an old man yelling at kids on his lawn. He goes, hey, no meeting happened, not on this planet. And it's fine. That's okay. Like, I don't think William Shatner is probably involved too much in Paramount because Paramount doesn't have a clue what they're doing with anything when it comes to Star Trek. Now, granted, I definitely think that Jonathan Frakes he's directing a lot, he's helping out, but I don't think he's really putting that much influence into this because I don't think that Paramount has a freaking clue what they want to do with Star Trek. Like I've said this, give us Legacy, give us the Enterprise F, whatever letter it's on now, with 7 of 9 commanding and being the captain and just going on adventures and maybe doing mystery, fun, weekly episodes with maybe an overarching arc from here or there. But no, like I said in our last episode, Star Trek is dead. You can't do that. You have to be flashy. You have to be 10 episodes. You have to be boom, 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 get. And speaking of that, and I will say with Shatner's comments, I do agree with some of them in some way. He said that Gene Roddenberry would likely be turning over in his grave if he could see what's happening to a lot of this modern Trek. I mean, obviously that's a thumbnail, that's a hot button, slice that they got out of this interview, and they're kind of trying to turn him in. They're trying to, some of the fan base is trying to turn Shatner into this anti-modern Star Trek warrior. Like he's sitting in a cave somewhere with a candle, reminiscing over his TOS DVDs or something, and that's not what he meant at all. He was simply talking about, he's talking about the workplace. If you want to go back and watch the whole clip and listen to it, he says, he's talking about all the workplace romances and the weird relationship drama. Like, it is just jam-packed in Star Trek, or modern Star Trek. And I'll be honest, that's a fair critique of it. Like, it is too much. Like, I don't care if you're gay, if you're trill, if you're whatever, like, binomial, whatever, who cares? Like, let's just get into what makes science fiction good and have good stories that go along with it. And I think that's what people are longing for. And I feel like we have so many relationship stories in Trek now that it's kind of getting lost. And it's kind of like that's becoming the main point. And that's the main issue I had with Starfleet Academy, was that it was mainly like high school teenage drama, which I get and it was fine, but it shouldn't be a main point. of the whole story. You know what I mean? Like, maybe if that's what they were going for, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Those people make a lot more money than I do. It's a different pay grade. I'm just a simple one-man podcast. So here we are. I mean, the franchise is in a very bizarre place because there's no new shows officially in development right now. Starfleet Academy just got canceled for season 2, and they still have season 2 to premiere. So what are the odds that season 2 is going to have a really great show run? It's not a really great run. It's not. Why would you? I barely watched. I watched up until the Cisco episode of Starfleet Academy. And the only reason I did that is because I saw the stuff for it. And I was like, ooh, Cisco. Ooh, yeah, let's talk about that. And after that, I was like, yeah, I'm done. Again, I've always said this and advocated on the podcast, if you're a fan of this stuff, that's fine. I'm not going to ring you over the coals for liking what you like. We all work very hard. We all have a lot going on, whether it's friends, family, cats, dogs, careers, bosses, like, it's a lot. And so sometimes when we're going to sit down and watch TV, it's to relax. And so if you like Starfleet Academy, God bless you. If you hate it, God bless. Who cares? I'm not going to criticize somebody if they like Jell-O versus, ice cream. It's whatever you want to eat, man. And that's how our entertainment should be. And I feel like anything more, it just gets toxic and it gets gross. And I know that's kind of controversial in the Star Trek community. I don't know why. I personally, I don't care for it, but Strange New Worlds has been great. But it's kind of sad. So we're on our 60th anniversary of Star Trek. And Jonathan Frakes out there said some good quotes. He says that it's an unfortunate irony that Academy got canceled. And because we don't have anything. It's a big year. It's not a milestone year like 50 or 75, but it's a big year, 60. And the fact that we really don't have anything, that'd be like the NFL celebrating 100 seasons and be like, oh, there's no football this year, but we have a DVD from the 1987 Cleveland Browns. Frakes is trying to stay positive, as am I. The franchise might be kind of in limbo right now, but it's got a light at the end of the tunnel because there apparently is a new movie in development. And don't worry, folks, it's not in the Kelvin timeline. Praise the Lord, it's not in the Kelvin timeline. At CinemaCon, is it CinemaCon, Luna? At CinemaCon, they updated us on the future of Star Trek movies, and the update is kind of the same thing your uncle says when you ask him if ever's going to fix his boat that's in his backyard. Yeah, we're working on it. It's the entire update, that this new movie is still in development. That's it. There's no cast, there's no plot, there's no release date, just a bunch of executives standing around in a conference going, hey, we're gonna do it. It's still an idea. I'm excited because they did announce that it's not going to be the Kelvin. It's going to be a whole new cast, a whole new timeline. We don't really know if it's going to be what that could mean. If it's going to be a Quentin Tarantino, which I would think it would be a great idea for Star Trek, because could you imagine? The movie would be 4 hours long. Scotty would say the F word about 117 times. Spock would suddenly have a monologue about the cultural significance of Romulan feet. And then, there'd be a quarter pounder joke about Kronos, about how much would they really call it there. We do know that Tarantino's out, obviously. Noah Hawley's out. The Chris Pine sequel, Kelvin Timeline's out. There are two directors they didn't name, and that's John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein. They're attached to the project. And I think we're doing what Hollywood always does. They're going to say, hey, don't worry, everybody. We're reinventing everything that you liked. And that's absolutely terrifying because, don't get me wrong. Sometimes reinvention is great. Sometimes it's like, hey, we're going to, when I got married, I was on a futon eating cereal. My wife goes, hey, we're going to get a couch. And sometimes reinvention is great. Kind of updates the franchise, gets some new life in you. But, these are the dudes that made the Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves movie, which was a great movie. If you haven't seen Honor Among Thieves, it was a fun movie. So, if they bring that kind of fun campiness to Star Trek, I would really like that. But these dudes don't know Star Trek. They've never directed Star Trek. They don't know the vibes of it. So I would love if they would bring in a Frakes, who is an amazing Trek director. And they are bringing, I think, Chad Gad from Spider-Man Homecoming as well to help steer the Enterprise. So again, we don't know if it's going to be what timeline it is, but we just know, please don't make it after the burn or around the burn. Just, I would love maybe something in after the Dominion War, after Picard season 3, and just continue the franchise. Or maybe do, I don't know, we'll have to see. Let me know what you guys would like to see in the new Star Trek movie. But I would love to see it be something that would be fun and kind of more, exploring concepts and ideas we never talked about before. And that doesn't have to mean, look what DS9 did. Everything was a ship, DS9 was a space station, and now some consider it the best Trek. So yeah, I'm open to new ideas. I'm flexible. I just want something that's not romance, high school, or prequel. Give us some original stuff, but we'll see. But that would be about it for News and Brews. We covered the Shat and Chat. We covered Shatner's comments and about how people are trying to turn it into this anti-modern Trek warrior, and then also the 60th anniversary in the new movie. Let me know what you guys think about the new movie, what you would want to see. Kind of curious how that would look. But again, I'm excited to hear what you guys think. And again, thank you all so much for listening. And Luna, let's wrap it up. Shat and Chat. Should put that on a t-shirt. That was a lot of fun. So again, if you have the opportunity, please go do it. It was a lot of fun and pretty inexpensive day or night, evening event. Yeah, lot of good time, lifelong memories. But again, thank you all so much for listening, all your support. I think we're up to 103,000 on Instagram, and then close to 40,000 on Facebook. Thank you just for all the social media love. And I am, overwhelmed by it. I love talking to you guys about just everything and anything. Some people talk about Zephyr Cochrane, some people about poop on the replicator system. It's always fun talking with you guys on social media, so please keep it up, and feel free to check out the greatest movie blog of all time. That's jasontalksmovies.wordpress.com. It's jasontalksmovies.wordpress.com. Check it out. It's a great, fun, easy, sometimes spoiler-free reviews of movies and TV shows. Help out the man and check out his blog. But again, thank you so much for listening. Remember to take care of yourselves and take care of one another. And second star to the right, straight on till morning.